These leaks just will not stop, and I have basically given up all hope that they ever will. What's going on, Guardians? TBL here, coming back at you guys to give you another report on some of the exotics we'll be getting our hands on in Destiny 2. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll know that a game guide for Destiny 2 leaked onto the internet yesterday. Somebody got their hands on it, was taking a couple of pictures and putting that information out there. Well, they're back and posting even more information from that guide, covering absolutely everything. The story missions, the strikes, the exotics, even the exotics that we hadn't gotten a chance to see yet. We have now been able to basically take a look at all of their stats, their abilities, everything. And over the course of this video, we'll be talking a bit about some of those exotics. We will be covering the abilities of all the exotics that we hadn't learned about until now. So if you want to stay completely fresh with no spoilers from Destiny 2, this is your chance to get out now. So let's go ahead and get into it. First up, for kinetic weapons, we know that the Metta MultiTool is returning with Destiny 2, and we're going to get a chance to take a look at some of its actual abilities. Its intrinsic perk is called Metta MultiTool, where this weapon will continually boost your movement speed, very similar to the perk it had in Year 1, where you basically got a double agility boost on it. Its barrel type is the corkscrew rifling. It's a balanced barrel that slightly increases your range and stability. It also slightly increases your handling speed. Its magazine comes back with the highly coveted high caliber rounds, where shots from this weapon will knock the target back farther, and they slightly increase range. Glad to see HCRs are coming back for the Metta MultiTool in D2. Next up, its special trait is called the Metta Radar, where the radar will always stay active while aiming down the sights. Of course, no real surprise there with the multi-tool. And finally, it's got hand-laid stock, where the weapon is optimized for recoil control and increased stability. So on the surface, not too much has changed with the old Metta multi-tool, but there is one final special little feature about it. The Metta MultiTool will grant additional benefits when the legendary submachine gun, the Metta Mini-Tool, is equipped in your energy weapon slot. That's right, we've got exotic legendary weapon combinations that will give you special benefits in Destiny 2. Definitely a big surprise there. So not only are we going to be getting a legendary submachine gun with the fantastic name Metta Mini-Tool, but if you utilize that in a loadout with the Metta MultiTool, you'll gain increased benefits. Now at this moment in time, we don't know exactly what those increased benefits are, but it's really interesting to see that we'll be having some exotic legendary weapon combinations that give you special perks, and that's certainly the case with this next weapon. The Sturm Exotic Kinetic Hand Cannon was something we got to see in previous videos, and now thanks to this leak, we get a full look at its abilities as well. The Stern's intrinsic perk is called Accomplice, where kills with this weapon fill the magazine of the equipped energy weapon from the reserves. So getting a kill with this gun will instantly refill your energy weapon from its reserve ammo. Its barrel type is the extended barrel. It's a weighty barrel extension that increases your range and decreases handling speed. It's also got extended mags to greatly increase its magazine size, but cause it to reload much slower. And its special trait is called Storm and Stress, where kills with the legendary sidearm Drange grant bonus precision damage until the next reload. We'll get more into that in just a second. And finally, it's got the Combat Grip, which reduces its vertical recoil. The Sturm is also one of the exotics that's going to have a combination ability with the legendary weapon. The Sturm will grant you additional benefits in the form of the Storm and Stress perk when it's paired with the legendary sidearm Drange. Or actually, Dron, if I'm understanding the reference correctly. Where getting kills with that legendary sidearm will grant bonus precision damage until your next reload. So you get kills with the sidearm and it builds up the Sturm's critical hit damage, giving you a bonus until you have to reload that exotic hand cannon. Very interesting ability there. Next up, we've got the exotic sidearm, the Rat King. Its intrinsic perk is called Rat Pack, where the weapon becomes stronger when nearby fireteam members also have it equipped, and this can stack up to 6 times. So the more people in your fireteam who are using Rat King, the stronger the Rat King will be. And it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how powerful that thing can get when you've got 5 other Guardians who are also using it. Moving on, for its barrel, it's got small bore, which grants it increased range and increased stability. Tactical mag, where the weapon has slightly increased stability, slightly increased reload speed, and slightly increased magazine size. Its special trait is called Vermin, where reloading immediately after a kill grants a brief period of invisibility. Very interesting there. And finally, it's got a smooth grip, where the weapon is slightly easier to hold and aim. It's got slightly increased stability and slightly increased handling speed. And I gotta say, the Rat King seems like a really interesting weapon, both with the Rat Pack perk giving it bonus damage based on the number of people who are actually using the gun, and the Vermin perk allowing you to turn invisible when you get a kill and you reload immediately afterwards. I wasn't the biggest fan of some of the sidearms within the Destiny 2 beta, but this one might turn me on to the class. Moving on from there, we're going to take a look at some of the energy weapons. First up is the Fighting Lion. Now this gun is really interesting because it's actually an energy weapon grenade launcher, which is usually something that's reserved for the power ammo slot. So it's really interesting that we're going to be able to have a secondary grenade launcher. Anyways, this void damage weapon comes with the intrinsic perk Delayed Gratification, where grenade projectiles will bounce off of hard surfaces. You can hold the fire button to fire and then release to detonate. So you can actually kind of fire these things out like a charge and then time detonate them, which is really cool. Being able to control the detonation like that is something we haven't really seen too much of in Destiny. Its launcher barrel is countermass, which helps you greatly control the recoil and increases the stability while also increasing handling speed. Its magazine is implosion rounds, where grenades will travel faster and have a controlled explosion. This perk also increases your projectile speed and greatly increases stability, but decreases your blast radius by just a bit. Its special trait is called Thin the Herd, where direct hits with this weapon will do more damage to shielded enemy combatants. Rapid kills against grenade damage enemies will refill the magazine, so you can kind of just start firing this thing into a group of enemies, and as you're getting kills, you'll be able to just instantly reload this gun and continue firing. Very cool. Finally, it's got a short action stock, which makes the weapon really easy to grip. It greatly increases your overall handling speed. After that, we've got the Skyburner's Oath. This is going to be a solar damage scout rifle, and its intrinsic perk is Slug Rifle, where the weapon fires solar slugs that get stronger when aiming down the sights. Kind of an interesting perk to put on a scout rifle, giving it more damage when you're ADSing. Generally, about 9 times out of 10, you're always ADSing when you're using a scout rifle, so I'll take that bonus damage. It's got the extended barrel, which increases its range but decreases its handling speed. Extended mag, which increases its magazine size but causes it to reload slower. And the special trait For the Empire. This weapon is full auto, does extra damage to Cabal, and penetrates phalanx shields. This thing is gonna be awesome. So not only does this weapon do more damage when you're ADSing, it's also full auto, does extra damage to the main enemy type in Destiny 2, and goes right through those crazy phalanx shields. Definitely a set of really cool abilities on this gun. Finally, of course, it's got the short action stock, which greatly increases this gun's handling speed. And overall, I've got to say the Skyburner's Oath definitely sounds like one of the more awesome exotics we'll be getting our hands on in Destiny 2. The mere fact that it can fire through a phalanx's shield is good enough, but the fact that it's also full auto and does extra damage when you ADS, this thing is going to be too good. Moving over to the power weapons, first up we've got the Darcy Arc Sniper Rifle. Its intrinsic perk is called Personal Assistance, where you can aim at an enemy to view its health and other critical information on the scope. It's got the extended barrel for increased range and decreased handling speed, extended mags for the increased magazine size but slower reload, the short action stock for increased handling speed, and its special trait is called Target Acquired. When the Personal Assistant perk is active, this weapon has better target acquisition and deals more precision damage. So when you've got that Personal Assistant intrinsic perk active, you can see the enemy's health, their critical spots, and all of that kind of stuff. It activates Target Acquired, which gives you better aim assist and more precision damage. Suddenly, a perk that seemed kind of useless might actually be rather awesome. I can't wait to see how that actually plays in the full game. After that, we've got the Merciless Solar Damage Fusion Rifle. Its intrinsic perk is called Conserve Momentum, where non-lethal hits with projectiles will make this weapon charge faster until its wielder gets a kill. Very interesting perk there. So basically, if you're not getting kills at your fusion, if you're landing those shots and it hasn't killed the enemy you're firing at, this gun is going to continually charge faster until you finally get a kill. I could see that being kind of gimmicky in PvP and PvE, where maybe if you don't land all the bolts that you need, you can get a faster recharge rate on that second charge and hopefully clean up the kill then. It's got the chambered compensator as its barrel. This is a stable barrel attachment that increases its stability, improves recoil direction, and slightly decreases handling speed. It's rocking extended mag for increased magazine size but slower reload. Fitted stock for increased stability but slightly decreased handling speed, and its special trait is called Impetus, where reloading immediately after a kill increases weapon damage for a short time. Meaning you get that kill, you get kind of a reactive reload sort of effect, and then you can go right back into charging at people. After that, we've got the Legend of Acreus Arc Damage Shotgun. This gun's intrinsic perk is called Shock Blast, where this weapon fires a blast of high damage arc energy that over-penetrates enemies. So hopefully you can hit more than one enemy with a single shot with this thing. That'd be super cool. Its barrel is full bore. It greatly increases range, decreases stability, and slightly decreases handling speed. It's also coming with accurized rounds for increased range, fitted stock for more stability and slightly decreased handling speed, and its special trait is called Long March, where you can detect enemies on your radar from farther away. Just what we needed for PvP. Finally, we've got the exotic arc damage grenade launcher, the Prospector. This gun's intrinsic perk is called Excavation. You can hold the fire button to fire grenades and release it to detonate all live grenades simultaneously. And finally, its special trait is a full auto trigger system, where holding down the trigger will fire this weapon at full auto. So you can basically just hold this trigger, fire a bunch of shots, and then when you take your finger off of that trigger, all of those shots will detonate. Which sounds really interesting. I could kind of imagine just rapid fire shooting those things around a group of enemies or even at the feet of a boss and then just letting go of that trigger and watching the damage rack up. Definitely cool. But alright Guardians, that's it for all of the exotic weapon abilities that this guide shows off. We've now seemingly covered the abilities of all of the exotics that we hadn't seen thus far. But it's important to note that even this guide might not be complete. After all, it doesn't mention the Borealis PlayStation exclusive exotic sniper rifle at all, nor does it have any information about the raid. So you can definitely expect more than a few surprises to be locked away within the game itself. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. In the next video, we'll be covering some of the missing exotic armor abilities, so make sure you tune in for that. And be sure to let us know what you Guardians think down in the comment section below. But alright, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I'm the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.